What's up, friends? Yay, I'm live. I'm just going to keep my phone open before I start getting comments just to make sure that comments are working because they haven't been working so consistently lately. Mercury retrograde. Hi. Say hello if you guys are jumping on, please, so that I know the comments are working and then I can close my phone and I don't have to look between devices. Hello, hello. Happy Sunday. Welcome into Room for Healing. I'm offering you a giant hug. And I'm just excited to be live with you guys. I've been intending to go live here for a couple days, so I'm really excited to be able to jump on and spend some time with you because there's been some info just kind of swirling in my field that has been so eager to get out there and just be part of your healing experience. So I wanted to share this with you so that you guys could just add another tool to your toolbox and amplify what you're already doing to make your life fabulous and amazing. So say hello if you're here, and definitely tag people or share this to other people that might need it. I know that we are in a private Facebook group, so it's very possible that if you share it with somebody publicly on their Facebook page, it's not going to show up, but you could also share it in Messenger, and then all they have to do is request to join Room for Healing and they'll be part of it. Hello, Kalashri. So good to see you. Oh, I'm so excited. And thank you for being here with us so late. I'm proud of you. So impressed with you. I would probably be such a cranky pants, although I was up very late last night because the Akash was downloading like so many things last night and I was just wide awake. So anyway, and I have all of those things to share with you today too, which is so exciting. I'm going to be doing a free class on Tuesday night, Tuesday evening Eastern time. It's about 5:15 Eastern, and I just posted about it on my personal page. And I'm just so excited because when they drop this stuff in, that's one of the things I've learned is that when they drop this stuff in, if I sit on it and I wait on it, the energy is not as potent. So when I jump right on it and I throw it out there immediately, it just creates so much momentum, and just so much shifting and energetic change. Hi, Carrie. How are you, honey? So good to see you. I'm excited for you. You're almost ready to go to Mexico, right? So anyway, so I wanted to talk about cycles today because this is something that, again, like I said, they keep kind of buzzing in my ear about to share with you because it's made a really big impact for me. And it's something that has assisted my energy and my body and just the way that I do X, Y, and Z in my life to just slow down, right? To just chill out. And so I wanted to share the different ways that you can play with cycles, okay? Because when I first started my spiritual awakening and first started this spiritual healing journey, I was really getting some information about the moon and understanding the moon cycles. And I abandoned it pretty quickly. And I think it's because there was too much. Like I was focused on all of the cycles. I was focused on the full moon, the new moon, the waxing moon, the crescent moon, the first quarter moon, the balsamic phase. Like there's so many phases of the moon. And for me, I was just kind of like, this is a lot, like it was just like, I think it just was intimidating to me, and I wasn't able to be consistent enough with it. And that was part of the problem. Don't get me wrong. I wasn't able to be consistent enough with it at the beginning for it to have an impact. But now I have found a huge difference with using the moon cycle. So I'm going to share that with you in a minute. Kalashri says, I understand what you're saying. Same thing happened with me this morning. Ascension codes download and I had to work and share it. See, exactly. Like it comes up and it's like, even if I sit on that for a week or two, like that wave of energy that we're riding can pass. And I love one of the main reasons I love to capture the energy is because it's inspiring. It provides people with so much momentum. And this is how life gets to become easier because we get to ride these waves of energy and allow it to carry us rather than just like putting it into our human box and our human timeline. Hi, Jolie. Thank you so much for being here. I hope you're well. Happy weekend. What are you guys up to for your weekend? So, all right. So the moon cycle was the first thing that I started working with, but it was too much. So I read this book called Do Less by Kate Northrup. How many of you have read this? I'm typing it in the comments. And yes, she is the daughter of Dr. Northrup, who has done a lot of work with Hay House and like medical intuition stuff. So I believe her name's Christian Northrup, I believe. Or Christine, something like that. Hi, Danielle. So good to see you, honey. So I read this book, Do Less. Any of you who are entrepreneurs, you will absolutely love this book. Even if you're not an entrepreneur, you're going to like this book. But particularly for entrepreneurs, it's such a helpful book. And she really explains the cycles of our being, okay? As women, and even if we're not women, we go through cycles, right? There's cycles of seasons for Mother Earth. So Mother Earth cycles with her seasons, right? We have a cycle every single day, from night to day, from day to night, from night to day, from day to night, right? So that's another cycle. We also have the calendar year as a cycle. We have our 24-hour cycle for our day. We have our 7-day cycle for our week. So you can focus on any cycle you'd like. You don't have to choose the moon. You don't have to choose your period, which is another cycle within our human bodies, right? We have a certain circuitry that exists within our heart to cycle the blood in and out of our heart space, circulating through the rest of our body. So there's so many different cycles. So let me know if there's other cycles that you can think of too that I haven't mentioned yet, that you work with or that you feel close to or that you're connected with, okay? Oh, am I still frozen, Jolie? Does anybody else see me frozen? Let me know if I'm frozen. Because I can always jump on my phone if I'm frozen. I don't think I am. Maybe it's on your end, Julie. We'll see. We shall see. I see you. Okay, cool. Thanks, Carrie. Thank you, Kalashri. I appreciate it. All right. So I'm sorry, Julie. Hopefully I will come back shortly. Okay, so I think it's really important for us to work with this for a couple reasons. One is we talk about returning to the heartbeat of Mother Earth. Hi, Sherry. So good to see you, honey. You know, having our frequency match the heartbeat of Mother Earth as much as possible. And that is why it's important for us to listen to solfeggio frequencies. It's important for us to tune our physical bodies. I use tuning forks. I use singing bowls. I use my gong. I use chanting. There's so many different ways and tools that I use to align my energy and attune my energy field to the heartbeat of Mother Earth, okay? This is why it's important for us to follow the Schumann Resonance as well. I love that my tongue was out, Jolie. Oh, that makes me so happy. I wish you would have taken a screenshot. So you know, the Schumann Resonance is something you can follow a girl in the universe on Instagram. I believe it's like a_girl_in_the_universe on Instagram. But she's wonderful with being able to track the Schumann Resonance, which is basically the heartbeat of Mother Earth. So she tracks all the electrical activity that occurs between the Earth's surface and the ionosphere, which is existing obviously as part of our atmosphere. So she tracks all that activity, and it's really a reflection of solar flares. And I've done lives on this before for Awoken TV, and you can find it on my YouTube channel if you want all the details on that. It's fascinating. That was actually one of my most popular lives. People were like super eating that up. So if you want to learn all the details about that, you can jump on that one on my YouTube channel. And that's just Emerge Healing and Wellness for my YouTube channel. And feel free to subscribe while you're there. I would love that. And then you can see any updated videos that you might miss on social media that'll be uploaded. But anyway, so as they track these solar flares and the Schumann resonance activity, you're going to be able to see differences in your physical body. You're going to be able to see differences in your emotions, in your interactions, and how you're interacting with your environment, etc. Right? So that's another way that you can track cycles. Okay? So there's the Schumann resonance, there's the moon cycle. So for me, what I thought was so cool was in this book with Do Less, or Do Less by Kate Northrup. She talks about aligning your menstrual cycle with the cycles of the moon. And when this was first brought up to me, I was like, oh, then I'm really going to be like a hippie freak. Like I can't align my cycle with the moon, because then I'm officially like a super hippie. And I told my husband this when we were talking about something the other day. I never remember. Oh, because I went plant-based. Over a week ago I went, or no, 2 weeks ago. I went completely plant-based, and I've been so good, and I'm so proud of myself. But I said to my husband, I was like, I've thought about this for a while for so many different reasons, my health being the main one. But, and I hesitated because I love food. I'm such a foodie, and it took me a while to like kind of break my walls down and get used to shifting my eating. But it's been amazing. But I was like, I'm going to be a total hippie freak if I also eat plant-based along with everything else. And my husband's like, honey, you own a gong. Like, you're already a hippie freak. You just need to accept it. Like, just appreciate that you're already a hippie, which I just thought was hysterical. So same goes for the moon cycle, because in this book, she says, if you set the intention to start bleeding on the new moon, you will start bleeding on the new moon. Because before we had artificial light and artificial anything, right? And everything was just all natural. So we were just exposed to the cycles of the sun and the moon and the tides and all the goodness. Women would naturally bleed starting on the new moon, and then they would ovulate on the full moon, right? Because they were just exposed to the natural cycles of the planet. But then obviously as we continue to grow as a planet and develop technology and light, artificial light and all of this other lovely stuff, which benefit us in so many ways, right? But our bodies have lost the rhythm that flows so beautifully with Mother Earth. So it was fascinating because she said, all you have to do is set the intention to start bleeding on the new moon. And I was like, well, how the hell's that going to happen? Like, my cycle is how my cycle is, right? Like, it's not just going to automatically shift. It happened literally immediately. I set the intention to align my cycle with the new moon, and literally the next month, I started bleeding on the new moon. This month again, started bleeding on the new moon. I was like, wow. And you know what's so fascinating? This is why. It's not just because it's intriguing and interesting and, oh, wow, look, I can do this and look how much power I have. Yes, it's empowering. Yes, it makes me feel more intimately connected to Mother Earth and the natural cycles of the planet and the universe. Yes. But more importantly, I think, I mean, yes, all those things are important, but just on a practical level, like day to day, this is what it would look like for me. So I'd be like super high energy and, oh, I want to do X, Y, and Z, all of these things, right? And I had my creative and my inspirational moments. And then I'd have my times when I really needed to rest. So technically, we're supposed to have that rest during the new moon cycle, and we're supposed to be having that rest during the time of our cycle where we're bleeding. And just so you know, for those of you who no longer get your cycle or who are not female and do not get your cycle at all, you can still follow this based on your energy levels, based on your mood, based on other symptoms that come forward for you. It doesn't just have to be that you're aligning it with actually bleeding, okay? So what else can we do with our intentions? I know, exactly. Oh my gosh, thank you so much for saying that, Michelle. You just totally made my day by saying that, because you're exactly right. If we can do that, because energy follows intention, right? Like anytime we set an intention, the energy follows it. So we can set an intention for anything, and it will be created for us. Now, will it happen immediately, like in 1 month like this? Maybe not, because we're naturally wired for that. So it's almost like my body was like, oh, thank God, you know? But what's so cool for this is like, so I'd have the new moon and I'd need to rest. And then I'd have my period and I'd need to rest. And so then I'd have these like 2 weeks out of the month that I need to rest. And I was like, dude, I need to rest all the time. Like, I'm laying down all the time. This is irritating. Like, this is irritating. So what's so freaking cool about this, honestly, it makes my energy has felt so different. My energy has I felt more inspired. I felt more rejuvenated. I felt more energized. And it's just so natural. So now I bleed on the new moon. I just have to rest for that 5 to 7 days. And then the rest of the weeks of the cycle, I'm in a much better place. Yes, there's still a time in the cycle when you are meant to rest a little more, right? But, and there's like the follicular phase and the ovulation phase are very, very high creativity and high inspiration and high energy phases. And then the luteal phase, which is after you've ovulated, up until the menstrual phase, which is when you're bleeding, those are for more rest and kind of slowing down. So luteal is like you're starting to slow down, starting to not lose momentum, but just kind of go within more, take more care of yourself, nourishing yourself, chilling, right? And then you go into the menstrual phase and you start to bleed and you're just meant to like rest. And, you know, I don't know if any of you have read that book, The Red Tent, but way, way back in the day, women used to go into a tent when they had their cycle, and they were revered. I mean, they were like honored. It was like flowers at their feet kind of experience, right? Honored for the fact that this beautiful cycle was flowing through their body, that it was a representation of our fertility, of our creativity, of our ability to create, right? Which was so revered. And it's just so interesting that it's taken on this form of like, ew, or you have your period, or something that is really seen as a nuisance, rather than a real representation of how beautiful the cycles of our body are. So anyway, so that was one thing I really wanted to share with you, because I honestly was surprised. I was very surprised. I did not expect it to happen so quickly. And I realized how liberating it actually was once it occurred. And I was like, this is so helpful, because it would honestly feel kind of defeating, because I'd get super inspired and then I'd have to rest. And I get inspired and then I have to rest. And I get inspired and I have to rest. So now for me, it feels like I have more freedom. It feels like I have more energy to be able to do things, because I'm like naturally running with my cycle, and I also know what to expect. So my ego has calmed down a little bit, because I'm like, yeah, well, naturally I get to just like take care of myself, and I take care of myself all the time, but like extra levels of nourishment, extra levels of rest, and intentionally do so at a time that it's also super, super potent within the universe, right? Marcy, hi, honey. I love you. How's your job? I actually think you texted me and I didn't text you back yet, so I'll do that. It's been a crazy weekend. My daughter, I'm so glad her birthday's finally over. This is her third party, because we went to my mom's and had that party. Then we had my husband's family party, and then we had her friends over. And then we had both of their dance recitals, my oldest daughters and my youngest, this weekend and last weekend. So starting today, I'm like, okay. Yeah, you can predict your body more. Exactly. Which is, you know what? It just allows you to like settle in and like chill out a little bit and just feel like, yeah. And that's a lot. That's one of my main questions whenever I talk about this, Michelle, is like, if you're not bleeding anymore, how does this apply to you? And so what I've found is that a lot of people still feel into the cycles that they used to have when they were bleeding, but they'll feel into it either with physical sensations or emotions that come forward, or thoughts that enter your mind, or just kind of like this general energetic feeling you get around, like you can tell that this was a time that you would have gotten your period. Some people do feel like that. And so that could apply for you. But it's also really important just to track your energy if you don't have a menstrual cycle anymore, to be able to just track your energy and identify, okay, like what are those, are there particular times of the month or times of the day even that I feel particularly tired, or that I feel particularly this or that? And then start to adjust around that, start to identify what the connections might be. And just so you guys know, cycles don't just exist with the moon, right? Like Chiron is huge for me. Chiron is called the Wounded Healer, and it's an asteroid. You'll find it in your natal chart, particularly if you look it up on astro.com. And that one is really bringing forward like our old patterns and our karmic experiences and old wounds, but it's bringing it forward to be healed, to be released. And so I find that, and Chiron takes a long time to transit, but I find that placement really affects me a lot. I also find that anytime the moon is in Pisces, I am like an intuitive freak. I am like a constant giant bucket of intuitive downloads when the moon is in Pisces. And it's funny because there's like nothing in Pisces in my natal chart. So it's just the way that it interacts with my energy. So it's just starting to get curious, like when certain things are going on, either with your physical body or with your emotional body or with your energy. And you just start to get curious, like, okay, what's going on with this planet? Like for me, Jupiter is the ruler of my birth chart. Basically, how you find the ruler of your birth chart, you find your ascendant sign. So my ascendant sign is Sagittarius, okay? And then you find what is the ruling planet of the sign that your ascendant sign is in. So for me, it's the ruling planet of Sagittarius. And so that's Jupiter, which means that Jupiter rules my birth chart, which is very exciting because it's the planet of like luck and good fortune and abundance. And so it's pretty exciting. But it's cool to learn about what the ruling planet of your birth chart is, because you can also notice like, all right, when that's in a certain phase, or when it's retrograde, or, where it happens to be transiting, you're going to be able to then see if there's a connection between your energy, your emotions, your physical sensations with that planet. Okay. You can also do this with, like I said, the Schumann Resonance, which is really a measurement of solar flares. So that's really your connection to that masculine energy and the sun. I find that affects me enormously, for sure. But think about the moon. I mean, the moon controls our tides. Our bodies are 70% water. So that's why it's the best place to start, especially when you're carrying a lot of feminine energy. We all have a mix of both feminine and masculine energy, but you're going to find that, of course, you're going to shift with the moon cycles, just like the waters shift with the moon cycles on our planet. Okay. So that's why it's a really good place to start, because it definitely impacts us pretty significantly. But I don't want you to just limit yourself to that. I want you guys to get curious. Hi, Diane. Yes. How are you, honey? I hope you're doing fabulously. So Michelle says, I wish I understood my body more. I hear you. I hear you. That's something that's a practice. It's something you totally have control of. Like we just talked about intentions, right? Michelle just set the intention. Not I wish I understood my body more, but I intend to understand my body more. I'm officially setting that intention. I choose to understand my body more intimately. I think it's really, really important for us to do that, because our bodies are huge communicators, especially as we get older and we may start getting more symptoms or more sensations in our physical body that we might not be used to as our bodies shift and change. We really want to have a communication with them and a relationship with them that allows this reciprocity of, this is how I'm feeling. Oh, cool. Okay. Interesting. What does that have to say to me? Right? So that you allow yourself, hot flashes. Exactly. Start to understand. And I'm sure there may be cycles in that too. So I don't know if you track those, or if you have an understanding of certain times of day or certain times of the week that they happen to be worse. But just starting to gain awareness, right, of your physical body and what it's asking for and what it's requesting. Well, that's one of the reasons that I went plant-based a couple weeks ago, because it was just very clear, like, it's time. It had been kind of on my mind. But again, I think Jolie had said this, love meat. Love it. And I'm such a foodie. So it was something that I was egoically attached to, right? And we don't want any attachments on this planet. That's one of the things that leads to our greatest levels of suffering, is attachments to anything, right? Even our children, even our closest family members and our closest loved ones, which can be very, very hard to come to terms with and to understand, but it's truly all in the direction of our own peace, of our own self-understanding, of our own self-love. So let me know if there's certain cycles that you guys follow, or if you're going to make a commitment, like a significant commitment to, okay, I intend to start to understand the moon cycles, or I intend to start understanding the Schumann cycles, or the astrology cycles, or my ruling planet cycle, or my menstrual cycle, or the seasons. Are there particular seasons where you have greater energy? Are there particular seasons, like for instance, winter is very similar to the new moon phase and very similar to the menstrual phase, right? Where we're meant to rest, where we're meant to kind of hibernate, go within, right? That's the time when we can like look at our shadow. And that's why a lot of people can get depressed during the winter time with that seasonal affective disorder that used to exist, right? Because people used to, people can very easily get depressed over the winter, because it is that time when we get less sunlight, right? We have access to more of the shadow that's more at the surface, more of that dense energy to be able to excavate and kind of shift and change. So it's important to identify which cycle you want to start aligning with. And I would just start practicing with it. And that's why I love we have so many different types of cycles. We have a 24-hour cycle if you want to make this something that you really stay on top of, and that holds you accountable, and that, kind of on a day-to-day basis is following you. Or if you're like, whew, that's too much, like slow down, easy tiger. Like I need to just cycle more slowly, which would be my answer, because I like a nice, slow, chill pace. So for me, I would probably, if I were starting out and weren't at the place I was now, I'd probably start with the seasons of the year, because that's a nice, every 3 months, like, okay, I can do this. I can take my time, and it doesn't have to be such a rapid, all of this information flooding in, and I have to figure it out, from day to day. So play with it. Jolie, I'm updating my resume, looking for something part-time. Is this the best time to look now, or should I wait until after Mercury retrograde? So, I think Mercury retrograde, and Daisy and I were talking about this in our live earlier in the week too, but I think there's a lot of, I guess, hype that exists around Mercury retrograde. It's more important to tune into your own energy, Jolie, than to focus on Mercury retrograde, because I'm launching so much stuff right now. Like, I have this free masterclass that's fucking amazing that they just downloaded last night at like 1:00 in the morning, and they were like, do this now. And I'm totally taking advantage of the energy. I'll put it in the comments because it's totally free. Just come. You can't lose, I mean, this is really about completing your full journey of self-understanding, right? So I'm bringing that forward. My retreat is getting launched in the next 7 days. We're hosting a retreat October 8th to the 12th. It's going to be in the Poconos, Pennsylvania. And that's getting launched this week. I have another course that's coming that I'm launching in a couple weeks, probably 10 days to 2 weeks. I just follow what the Akash dictates, right? I follow what the Akash offers me that exists with my energy, because I don't know exactly where your Mercury is in your chart. You've been a crazy bundle of emotions. Welcome to the world. There's so many people who are feeling that way right now. You are not alone. So I will hold you in Reiki and just let you know how much you are being held, because you are part of a sisterhood. You're part of a soulmate community here, right? Where we are helping each other navigate these kinds of ups and downs, right? And that's part of the human journey. And so to be able to realize, like, wait until you get to a neutral space. Wait until you get to a neutral space to be able to send out a resume or to actually make any kind of commitments. Really, it's the commitments. You can search all you want, but it's really making that commitment that people shy away from with Mercury retrograde, right? So you don't have to shy away from the commitment necessarily. I just want you to follow your energy. So if your energy has been a crazy bundle of emotions, then use this opportunity to get curious, do some journaling work, allow yourself to ground, allow yourself to feel held by Mother Earth, by Mary Magdalene, whatever makes you feel the most nourished and nurtured. Get yourself to a nice, even space or a neutral space, even if it's for a couple hours, right? And then during that time, reassess and reevaluate and make sure this is something that you want to commit to. But you can search. It's really just the commitment piece that I would just wait until you feel like you're in a space where not only are you inspired, but you feel like this is inspired action that you're taking, right? Because, like, I can feel inspired in a moment, but is that going to have staying power? Like, is that something that, I have an emotional authority in human design. And so with my emotional authority in human design, it's really important for me to not just like get excited and then just do something immediately, right? Because if I do something immediately, it's not going to necessarily be inspired action that's in alignment with my soul and my soul's purpose. So I like to give it a little bit of time, whether it's 24 to 48 hours, getting myself to that neutral space so that I can make a decision that I know confidently really, really supports my next steps. Okay, so let me know if that's helpful, Jolie. But thank you guys so much for joining me. Let me know other questions that are coming up. You're welcome to tag me in comments or just post in the group. This is your group. You have the opportunity to ask questions. You have the opportunity to support one another or to just share your experience, whether it's with Mercury retrograde or anything else, and just say like, oh my gosh, is anybody else a hot mess right now? Or however you want to describe it, a crazy bundle of emotions, right? Oh, hugging a tree helps me so much, Diane, and my kids just laugh at me because my grandmother tree's in my backyard and I'm obsessed with it. It warms my entire being to hug this tree, even if it's the middle of winter. So yummy. You're welcome, Jolie. So yeah, whatever it is for you, but definitely tag me. Let me know if you guys need me. Join me for this free masterclass. It's going to be in a private Facebook group on Tuesday night at 5:15 Eastern. And I'm going to be talking about the 5 pillars to complete self-understanding, the 5 steps to get you there. Okay. So this is really important for any of you who are on this path, whether it's healing, whether it's expansion, whether it's self-understanding or just curious or awareness about yourself. It's very critical for the expansion of our planet to be able to understand ourselves at every layer. And so that's what they downloaded last night at like 1:00 in the morning. And I just immediately brought it forward because it just felt so potent and so supportive for everyone. So let me know. Sign up in the link that I just popped in the comments, and shoot me a message if you have any trouble enrolling. And again, tag me if there's any questions in the comments. Okay, I love you guys. Mwah. It's 3:33. I'm signing off now on this special angel number. Have a good weekend. Bye.